Well, hi guys. I'm really excited to be here at Wanderlust, and like Katie said, I am a registered dietitian and a holistic health coach, and what my specialty really became organically was helping people heal their gut, because even when I was doing Pilates, I could help people with muscle tone and balance and core strength and all of these things, but ultimately to get good results, you have to address nutrition, and just like in Pilates, you have to start with the core there. It's the same with food, and really starting to understand that if you are doing all this good work to take in healthy foods in your breakfasts, lunch, dinners all the time, and you're not getting benefit from that, then it always comes back to your digestive system. So what I do with all of my clients is we start with that, and if they have extra goals, then we work on those as well. But today you might also know people, or you yourself have issues with food, like even good for you foods might make you not feel good sometimes. And so really digging into that and understanding, why is this happening? Why are so many people getting allergies and having problems with, even things like broccoli and asparagus causing them digestive stress when they eat that. So as one of the pillars of healing the gut, we always have to look at the good and the bad bacteria. So we know in our world today there's things we can't control, and sometimes excess toxins and the environment and things that are in our food without us knowing can be really harmful to the body. And so we have to do what we can and be really smart and strategic when we choose foods to kind of reverse that process and get the energy back in the digestive system, which is what will allow it to thrive. So I am so passionate about figuring out which foods are the best ones for you based on maybe your goals and your symptoms and what's going on in your body currently. So today we're going to look at which foods more specifically will help you either enhance good bacteria or maybe keep away some of the bad. So, and it's really simple things too, and accessible to everyone, so it doesn't need to be complicated. And when we are looking at restoring good bacteria, so first we just need to make sure that we are avoiding things that we know can be inflammatory. So if we're avoiding processed foods, if we're avoiding things like gluten and dairy, those things are triggers for so many people. And then we go on the other side of that and we look at how can we really enhance the body's ability to maintain good bacteria and restore that function again. So the first point I want to talk about is that all of us have on the inner lining of our digestive system these tiny little hairs, or at least we're supposed to. And those tiny little hairs are where the good bacteria and something called elevated biotics are stored. And when we have stress in our body and stress digestively, whether that's from maybe making poor food choices or being stressed out or toxins and pollutions and things like that, then these little hairs get damaged, and then that decreases your body's ability to hold on to the good bacteria and keep it, high functioning for you. So even if you are, thinking you're doing a lot of right things, that can be part of the reason. So that is there for us all the way from the stomach to the colon. And we need to understand how to, get that amped back up. So elevated biotics are these really cool this really cool concept. And has anybody, if you've heard about like soil-borne microbes as part of like improving gut health, it's sort of like on the flip side. So elevated biotics are found on the top part of our plant-based foods, so that they're exposed to the sun. And these little microbes or microorganisms that are gut healthy and beneficial, you can really get the benefits of them into your body by consuming things that are found organically grown, like if you go to a farmer's market or if you have your own garden or a co-op or something like that. And these little microbes are on the outer surfaces of things like our greens, like kale and sprouts, and even apples. If you go to an apple orchard or something where you're certain that there isn't added chemicals or pesticides, then you can really reap the benefits of these elevated biotics by simply consuming those foods fresh from nature, meaning like you don't even have to wash them off. I know that sounds crazy, but if you are certain that they're coming from a good source, you'll really reap extra benefits from eating them super fresh, where they've been touched by the sun and they are, pure in nature. So when you think about plant-based foods and even foods that are wild, like wild blueberries, whenever something is able to grow and to thrive in the wild, imagine what it can also do when you consume it and take it into your body. So if it can help this little plant survive in nature, it will do the same for you when you take it in, and be really purposeful about taking these types of foods in. So like I said, that could be things like eating apples, like the skin of the apples, especially red ones from an orchard, or some kale leaves or something from a farmer's market that is really super fresh. And then the next one that is really powerful is bananas. And bananas sometimes get a bad rap, right? When we're talking about gut health, and there's lots of people that have or have been told that maybe they've got too much bad bacteria in cases of candida or some other label. And so they're told a lot of times to avoid things like bananas and like high sugar fruits and foods. And of course you want to avoid sugar and processed sugars, but bananas get a bad rap, and they are one of the best foods for people that have digestive issues of any nature, especially things like IBS or SIBO or candida. And they're antispasmodic, and they actually help your body to naturally produce more acidophilus in the stomach. So you can get, probiotics in the bananas and be sure that they're being more therapeutic in the body versus, being afraid to eat them. So I have a lot of clients that when I tell them they need to eat fruit, more than they think, they get a little worried and scared. But it's really part of the answer to restoring the function. Most of the power is in our fruits and in our vegetables. So bananas are a huge one. Another thing that's really key is sweet potatoes. So everybody knows sweet potatoes are good for you, but we're looking at what they're doing specifically for the digestive system. They are promoting good bacteria in your stomach and in your small intestine and in your colon. And at the same time, they work to help you stave off bad bacteria. And they're soothing to the gut. So something to include if you're battling a digestive issue or symptoms, I would recommend taking those or eating those every day, even if it's half of a sweet potato. They're really, really powerful in healing. And then something that I think is really cool is aloe or aloe vera. Everybody might have heard of aloe for sunburns, right? And we know that that gel is very soothing, and we think about it maybe more topically sometimes. But this is the easiest thing you can do. If you go to the market and you can get you can get like a little aloe vera plant with the little leaves and pluck them out and just squeeze the actual good stuff out from the leaves. Or if you go to the store and you see these big aloe leaves, they sell them today everywhere, and they've kind of got little spikes on the side, so just be careful you don't prick your fingers, but you just kind of slice it like you would fillet a fish, and then you can scoop out that gel, and that gel is very, very, very soothing to the lining of the gut. And so when we have these like damaged little hairs, or if we have damaged villi of our small intestine where so much of our nutrient absorption is happening, and this is one way that we can really work to restore those things. And it's as simple as, taking a spoonful out and putting it in water and blending it up, and especially with, things like citrus, like lemons and limes and grapefruit or even oranges. You can make yourself like a little aloe refresher, or mix it with coconut water. That's really powerful as well. Or even just put it in a smoothie, kind of just cover it up and mix it into there. But I have my clients who predominantly have a lot of digestive issues doing that, the sweet potatoes every day, the aloe every day, and it is really, really key to healing that inner lining, because what happens is when we have too much bad bacteria, not enough good, the inside of the digestive system sometimes can feel like it hurts to eat, or when food goes down, it's difficult, and it's literally like you have a rash or an irritation on the inner lining of the gut. And so when we think about like burnt skin from the sun or a rash that we would use aloe for topically, and some of these other foods too, I don't want you to go smash bananas on your skin, but inside it works similarly. To do that. And so if you can envision, when I drink this smoothie, when I drink this little water combo, it's really soothing to my body. And I think when we know what foods do what for us, it makes it so much easier and more motivating to go and get those things, right? And to know that food has a purpose and that you can eat on purpose. Another juice, a vegetable juice that is really vital to restoring digestive health is celery. So celery juice, and I'm not talking about we all know green juice is great, right? And it's really alkalinizing, and that's a good thing too. But when we're talking about these specific foods for this specific reason, it's looking at foods as being therapeutic. So just like you would look at medicine, like, I'm taking this because I have a headache, or I'm taking that because I have a backache. You're doing these foods because you want to restore digestive function. And so we try to isolate them a little bit as far as the celery juice goes. All you do is get some organic celery, wash it off, and juice it. You can do it in a blender, but it tastes pretty gritty and not so good. But just juice it, and the acids, there are the healthy acids that we need to break food down, hydrochloric acid that our stomach produces, that can get taxed as well. And when we don't have enough of it, it's hard to break down things, especially like proteins and fats. So by boosting that naturally, the celery has a blend of 7 acids that perfectly match what your stomach would make. And so it's way more efficient than even, taking an enzyme or something like that. So you can juice it and work yourself up to 16 ounces, and there's excellent mineral salts in that juice, and it's really powerful. So that's something else you can do, and you would do that right away in the morning when you wake up on an empty stomach. So that's something else you can add to your kind of toolkit. And then a lot of people will use ginger, again, to be anti-spasmodic or, antibacterial. So some of these foods, like the bananas and the sweet potatoes, are promoting good bacteria. And then we also want to look at things that are not only they're antibacterial, they're often at the same time antiviral and antifungal. So if we've got too much bad bacteria, there often can be other things like fungus and molds brewing inside. And so a lot of the same foods will target all 3 platforms at once, which is really great. So ginger is one of those. Noni juice is one of those. Noni is grown in the Polynesian areas, and that one also is helpful for opening up your cells so that they can better take in nutrients, and really good for calming symptoms like reflux and soothing the stomach. We also know that when we're looking at chronic inflammation in the stomach, then things like grapefruit can be really helpful. That's another one that is antiviral and antibacterial, and really cooling to the body as well. So what I tell people to do is, see how you can most simply create this as part of your daily routine. So what would a day look like, right? So you would wake up. Of course, we want to be hydrated right away in the morning. Drinking a lot of water is always important, and room temperature or warmer, so it's not as hard for the body to be able to take it in. You can do the lemon water. Your body is really primed in the morning when you wake up to be able to flush the liver, and that's a good tool to have. And if you feel like that really works for you, then I would do it at night as well. So adding lemon to your water up to 16 ounces. And then seeing if you could add the celery juice in once in a while as part of your routine. Or even if you do it for a week, see what kind of symptoms or differences you would notice and start there. And then, sweet potatoes, they're so easy to make, right? The best way to get the most nutrients out of them is to steam them or to bake them. And, it's super easy to bake a sweet potato and smash some avocado in there, right? And instead of using things like butter, and it gives it so much flavor. And if you bake extra or steam extra sweet potatoes, you can put them in your refrigerator and keep them there, and then when you use them for your next meal, for example, something like a salad with dark leafy greens, those sweet potatoes will help you to get more nutrients out of your greens after they've been kind of stored for a little bit of time. So that's really cool to know too. And then, mixing up aloe and in your blender with citrus through the day or as something unique to replenish and hydrate is a good idea. So I think what is really the most important is to know that when we have all these symptoms, like bloating and constipation and diarrhea and stomach aches, that it doesn't have to be a dead-end sentence, that they're really easy to reverse. So there's very simple things that you can do to try, and it's just kind of learning and understanding where to start and what to do first. And to know that, it's not always an immediate fix. So you just have to be persistent with it and know that your body wants to heal. It knows what to do, and you can set it up right. And we just have to be a little bit smarter and strategic about giving it what it needs at the right times so that it can get back on track and amp up its function. So when you have adequate digestive energy, then your body can use that extra energy to fulfill its normal or its other functions. So that includes, getting rid of toxins and reaching all the other areas of the body. So if you're someone that is struggling with chronic inflammation, even if it's in, your shoulder or your knee, or it's headaches or a different condition, it's always rooted back in the gut, because we have to get that on track first and stop straining the digestive system every time we eat by asking it to do something where it's just kind of run down, right? Because we all eat multiple times every day, and it never gets a break. So we have to, be smart about being able to ease up on what we ask it to do and give it the tools it needs through certain foods and through certain herbs, and then it can come back around and start to feel good again, and then everything else in the body can follow along.